I believe Superman and Lois will be one of the greatest live-action Superman-related shows when it's all over. We see Superman in a different light. He's a dad. He's a husband. He's still a hero of Earth. How does he manage all that? How does he contemplate everything? Does he struggle? How does he deal with one of his son's developing powers? What lessons can we take from each episode? Let us compare it to other ones. Superboy was okay. It was a low-budget TV show and it was set in the 1980s. It was set in his own universe, not Christopher Reeve's Superman, as many would get confused. But this is when Clark Kent becomes Superboy at a young age and we kinda see him dealing with love and being a hero at the same time. His love interest is Lana Lang, and he even gets bullied by Lex Luthor as Clark Kent. He fights thugs here and there and even the Mafia, but it's not really of a good TV show. The adventures of Lois and Clark were great, right up until season 3, and it started to lose itself. Back in the 1990s, and it was Dean Cain starring as Superman and Clark, and Terry Hatcher as Lois Lane, and they embodied the characters perfectly. And can I give a shout out to Lane Smith as the great Perry White? We meet Clark starting his job at the Daily Planet, being the mild reporter as we know, and developing his alter ego Superman, and even developing feelings for Lois Lane. We see his whimsical side, the comedic side, and we start to enjoy the show in the first minute. We cannot forget about the adventures of Superman with George Reeves. This was the origin of superhero TV shows. It started it all in the 1950s. This show was a literal comparison to the comics at this time. George Reeves was the light in everyone's eyes. He was just like Clark Kent. He had the look, he had the charisma, he had the suit and fedora that we know. You can feel his presence even while watching him play the Man of Steel Superman. Now, as we move on to that, we're going to hit 2001 Smallville. This will always be my bread and butter. The show was about how Clark slowly would rise up to be the Man of Steel. It would include melodramatic scenes with Lex Luthor, one of the best portrayals of all time. Thank you, Michael Rosenbaum. The show wanted to create villains that were infected by kryptonite and develop powers. Clark would save the day in the end. We would hear secrets in the Luthor mansion, and we would even see the differences in parenting between Lionel Luthor and Jonathan Kent, and see the different relationships that both Lex and Clark had with other characters. Especially with Lana. It is hard to say which character portrayal is the best, and which actor made you believe that they were the Man of Steel. But I would say each generation has one. Grew up believing that their Man of Steel is perfect. Can we relate to that particular Clark Kent in their own story? Is there one that's a spitting image that we have seen in the comics? Superman and Lois started out, their establishing Superman has already been here protecting the world time and time again. The concept of the show is how grounded Superman can be, and if they can elevate his character in any way. It is easy for him to fight thugs, to save a cat from a tree and make a story about it and end it. But if you give him human struggles, if you give him troubling relationships with different people like us, then there's a storyline you could give him. You could expand his story, his legacy, his mythos.